Hi, this is Benedek Csalog, and this is the second part of a video series I made about this new technique which makes possible to perform a continuous diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle, so this late baroque German style double tonguing described by Quantz and circular breathing. In this video I try to show you and to explain this and to give some hints for practicing if you feel like. Well, you might think, what's the sense of this? It's totally senseless, but it's fun. It's very inspiring to invent something new which did not exist before, and that's all. So first of all, obviously you need to have a good double tonguing diddle 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 diddle. And obviously you need a good circular breathing. I know there are different techniques even for that simple circular breathing. I'm applying that technique normally, which keeps my face more or less remaining the same, and also my lips should not move too much. So, but I'm basically not pushing out the air with my tongue, because I need my tongue for producing the diddle diddle diddle, but I'm pushing out the air with my larynx, like this. Yeah? Okay, the tongue is a little bit involved as well, obviously. And I am not doing that like jazz trumpetists are doing, or saxophone players. It's not possible when you play the flute. So we must find a way of combining circular breathing with double tonguing. And I must say that technique, which is described by my very good colleague Gergely Ittzés in his great book Time to Learn Hungarian, is not really applicable for this goal. Why? Because the technique which is described by him and applied by several very few excellent modern flute players today is based on the this conservative tiki 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 tuku tuku dege dege whatever technique. The problem is with that that technique involves both front part and back part of the tongue, but we need the front part of the tongue for pronouncing the in the very front, but we don't need the back part. So basically that movement of the larynx up is enough for us for producing a very short, very quick, very strong impulse. So basically we shoot a portion of air out of the mouth, which is enough for 1/16 note, not more. So it works like this. Everybody can do that. And everybody can breathe very quickly at the same time when shooting out that portion of air. It's no problem. But how to integrate this into the series of diddle 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 diddle? After this single note, you can easily switch back to dl, so that means dl, diddle, 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 diddle. Yeah, so it's no problem, it needs some practicing. But what happens right before that action of breathing and shouting the air? So, as I said, we play it normally, and then the last two notes before breathing should not be diddle, but tt instead. So diddle, 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 yeah? Why? Because these two times pronouncing the T gives you the opportunity to pull down your larynx or Adam's apple or throat or whatever, yeah? And on this way you make more space in your mouth cavity. That means more air inside because it's not vacuum there. And then you just need to, when finish the diddle tt section, you just need to shout that air you have here inside, which is enough for producing one note. And then you switch back to dl and continue diddle, diddle, diddle. So you might have some paper for cigarettes at home, and I just cut a little piece of that and put on my nose like this. Whenever I breathe through the nose, you can see the paper moving inside. So I'm going to play 8 notes in the row, and the last 2 will be pronounced with, articulated with TT, and the next section will start with, you will see the paper moving, yeah, and then I switch back to diddle, 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 diddle. When you play faster than this, obviously you play faster, otherwise it makes no sense. Then it's better not to apply this too frequently. So I would say play 4 times 4 notes, and at the end of the measure you pronounce TT and you start the next measure with the. You need to be sure that you take enough air and quick enough and strong enough through the nose when shooting out that little amount of the air from your mouth cavity. Otherwise, you will die sooner or later. And it can also happen that you just take too much air, and then you need to get rid of that. How to do this? You can simply let it out through the nose while playing diddle, 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 diddle. It's not that difficult. Some flutists are doing it on the modern flute when just playing normally legato. Of course, it affects the sound quality, but it's a good solution for that problem. One of the problems here is that you have to keep a good balance between taking enough air, which you need for playing the flute, and enough air for your body, because the sense of breathing is to supply your blood with oxygen, obviously, but not too much air for the flute and not too much air for the body. And this is sometimes very difficult. Sometimes it happens that you take too much air, you need to let it out on this way. And just briefly, some important tricks in order to perform this better. Whenever you play a row of notes just before the action, try to play the very last note, which is a T, a little earlier than it should come. Something like this. Why? Because like this you can create a little more extra additional time for pulling down your throat, and then obviously you can shoot more air out through the nose, and you have a little more time for breathing. It's maybe even more important. And you can also extend the first note of the new measure, that note which you are using for breathing, and therefore it's also good to finish the previous one as soon as possible. Like that you have more time for the next one. I demonstrated again with slow tempo. Okay, and another thing you really need to practice to avoid that note of the action sounding much louder than the others. This is something to practice again and again. I need to practice too. And regarding speed, you can speed it up until 150, 55, something like this, which is just enough for playing like quants or Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach concertos or something like this. And you can slow it down as much you need. So I would say the most comfortable range is where it makes sense is something between 100 and 130. That demonstration I made in the other video, I played 137, which is a good tempo for practicing and performing. So maybe one more video is coming with some more details and hints. Anyway, good luck, and let me know if you have any questions, and let me know when you succeed this technique. Goodbye.